this game. But welcome everyone to our second session. Oh no.
Oh no.
Am I a mime?
Okay. Try again.
Okay, we're back. All right. Take
I don't think
two.
we ever left.
Welcome back to Wonderworld, everyone. Like a well-oiled machine on Tuesdays. That's my new sign-on for
It's
this game,
Tuesday and we don't know what we're doing.
in more ways than one. But we are back for our second session, and I know that at least one of us is excited to be back here. We have a slightly smaller group than last time. Unfortunately, Alex, our speedster, could not make it back, so we are missing him, but we will carry on with the remainder of our group. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, if there's anybody tuning in, this is Wonderworld. We are running the Cypher system, which is a D20-based system. You can check it out. I don't know who the publisher is. I would have looked that up if I had been prepared for any of this. But same system with Numenera that runs Numenera and all those sort of things. So check it out. It's fun. But none of us know what we're doing. If you tuned in the first time and you were kind of clawing your hair out because we didn't know what we were doing during the session, well, good news for you. You'll get to do that all over again. Because I am just throwing the rulebook out the window for this one, since I'm an expert on this now. We made a couple changes. Cat's trying to get into the door. We made a couple changes. I modified some power stuff. Hello, Jax.
It's the Montcook Gaming. That's who does the...
Yeah, that's right. So yeah.
I tried to wait for you to stop, and I was like...
No, this is like it's a runaway train now. It's not going to stop. But yeah, so we're going to play fast and loose with the rules as we go along, try to keep this more narrative than anything else. So if you're looking for somebody to teach you how to play this game, it's not us. You can watch the rest of the show and then find someone else to teach you.
If you're looking for some people who love games and superheroes, though, it is us. So
yeah.
If you want 2 hours of just pure and utter chaos and calamity, welcome. Yeah.
So anyway, we are on a time crunch, so we are going to go ahead and get started with Volume 2 of Wonderworld.
It's an interesting choice of music.
This volume begins far away from the city our heroes call home. We see white, an endless expanse of ice and snow stretching out into infinity. Jagged spires of rock and ice spear the swirling clouded skies. Below, gaping black maws mar the landscape where the cracked ice reveals the depths below. Our vision pans to a solitary gray stone structure nestled among the snow, and nearly entirely buried by it. As we approach, we see what seems to be a bunker, with rough stone walls protruding 15 feet out of the snow, with no discernible entrance but the half-snow-covered lift pad on the roof, currently vacant. We move into the structure, zooming down a shaft falling hundreds of feet below into the obscured levels of the structure. There, darkness. We come into a room, dimly humming with the sound of computer servos. On the far side of the room, the light of dozens of computer monitors cast a turquoise glow, giving it a nearly subaquatic feel. These screens depict charts, graphs, images, maps, programs, and computer code whizzing by in an overwhelming maelstrom of data and information. The light of the monitor frames the darkened shape of a single high-backed chair in the center of this wall. We make out the outline of a figure moving in the chair, facing away from our perspective. The tapping of keys stops, and a darkened hand reaches towards the comm button on the panel to its left. A click pierces the silence. Wrath, come see me. Bring karma. Minutes pass, watching the shadowed figure. Then the silence breaks again with a hiss as the stainless steel door across from the monitor slides open. Stepping through the doors are two women, one tall Asian woman with two swords crossed on her back and a ruby amulet hanging from her neck, and a smaller woman wearing an oversized purple hoodie. The Asian woman has a scowl on her face, highlighted by dozens of scars. She grunts across the room. All right, we're here. What's up? The figure in the chair stops typing again, but doesn't turn around as they speak. It's time, Wrath. You have your orders. Wrath huffs. Could have said that over the comms. Come on, girl. It's time to see what you can do. The girl's head, obscured by the hood and pointed down at her feet, twitches, and a few strands of blonde hair peeking out from underneath sway slightly. She doesn't look up. She scampers to the side, avoiding Wrath as she steps towards the door. The man in the room speaks again. Remember, this isn't about winning. This is about sending a message. Wrath doesn't respond. She simply waves a hand above her head as the doors slide closed behind her. A few moments pass as the panels on the computer panels across the room slowly go dark. The three of you find yourselves in your office, a conference room of sorts, a heavily fortified structure in the heart of downtown Futuretopia. The walls outside the structure depict the W.O.N.D.R logo, but inside, in a windowless room, you all sit at a table built for many more people than the three of you, and see a telecom panel on the far wall that is currently lit up. Sitting at a chair, currently depicted in the frame of this panel, is a woman with brunette hair, kind of curled and tousled around her shoulders. In probably her mid-40s, there are bits of streaks of gray kind of towards the roots of her hair. She wears spectacles perched at the end of her nose, and she currently seems to be taking notes. She looks up, takes her glasses off. So, tell me what happens with Mr. Genocide. Not all at once.
After we received the alert of the transport that had been attacked, we quickly made haste towards the docks where the helicopter seen carrying the cargo was flying. After our arrival, we discovered that not only had the cargo itself been moved, but Mr. Genocide was also on the move to the water treatment plant in order to intoxicate the water supply of the city. Upon our arrival there, I engaged the two combat units along with Sentinel, while Cerebellix and Accelerando travelled upstairs to deal with Mr. Genocide.
Since Accelerando isn't here, Cerebellix, would you please tell me how it is Mr. Genocide escaped, given that you were pursuing him with one of the fastest units that we have available?
Well, at the time, I was a little focused on turning off the machine that was going to poison the water supply of an entire city. So there's that, and you're welcome.
The woman sort of fidgets in her chair a bit, sitting back with a bemused smirk across her face. And you all know who this person is. This is Eternity, the leader of W.O.N.D.R.
So there's that. There's also the, piece of knowledge we didn't have before, which was that Mr. Genocide sort of excels at poison and clouds of it. And,
Well, if any of you ever read the dossiers that I made available, you might have expected this. But I see your usual tactics of running in and hoping all goes best prevailed in this circumstance.
to be fair,
Wait, we were supposed to get dossiers on each of these people? What?
we weren't all running.
When did we start getting dossiers on these people? I've never got one in my life.
You don't read your emails.
What's an email?
So the ability of Mr. Genocide to incapacitate our friend Accelerando, it was much easier for him than we initially anticipated. So we had a bit of an issue chasing him down, because as fast as Accelerando is, he can't run when he can't breathe.
All right. I get the picture. Well, as you know, Genocide is still at large. We've been looking for him, but so far, no trace. One good thing that did come of this, you were able to aid in the capture of a rather large thorn in our side, Anathema. We are grateful that you didn't release this creature when you were prompted to. For right now, as you can see, and she clicks a button, and you can see her window sort of shrinks, and you see a much larger one come into focus. A large underground structure, looks like a prison complex, in the center of which there's a there's a massive sort of dark steel cage that seems to be humming with electricity, and you can see that same red-skinned creature, Anathema, that you encountered previously, sort of pacing from side to side in this cage, cursing under his breath. She mutes the image and kind of minimizes it to the side of the screen. She says, "We're running tests to see if we can reverse the process that caused this strange transformation, but good job in making one good choice, at least, during your misadventures." She says, "All right, so that's our update from the Tokyo unit." And she clicks a button. You can see a little mute icon form on your screen. And she begins speaking to somebody else that's on this teleconference call that you can't see. She says, "Johannesburg, update for you as well." And they begin to talk in much the same fashion. Anything while you guys are listening to your colleagues give their updates?
I shall send some more emails are and how to access his.
He's got like 700 emails.
So that's what that beeping noise at like 3 o'clock in the morning was for the past like 2 months.
Yeah.
And whenever he tries to click it off, it's like I'm already in the device through the Wi-Fi, so I just turn it back on.
Yeah, he's got about like 1,300 missed emails at this point.
I'm not reading all of these. Can I just delete them all, and then when I get another one, I'll just read that one? So that's what I'm going to do.
Like, would it be possible to spend 5 minutes filtering through these just to get the dossiers he'll need?
Sure.
Mark everything else as spam.
It's spam. Just everything else is spam.
First roll of the game. Make a you have a technology skill or something like that?
I believe I do. I need to get my thing back up because I was looking at them both earlier and it's confusing. I'm in this body. I have repairing machines, using machines, crafting machines, identifying machines, and understanding machines. I will just put a quick something in there for, I don't know.
Just make an intelligence. Do an intelligence task. Difficulty for this is going to be like 4.
Natural 1.
So that's a GM intrusion.
Because it's Alex. That's just it. No matter what game it is, it's Alex.
We can't even check our email right.
Yeah, as you're holding his
horrible.
As you're holding his comm device, going through the emails on it, you're very rapidly trying to go through the emails, and they're just like deleting like, and then after a moment, it kind of like, and there's this like sparking noise, and the screen goes black, and the whole thing just has a little bit of smoke drifting off of it.
I will return this to you in approximately 2 days' time.
Did
Put it in one of my little compartments.
Just dirt.
I'm not really sure how to take. I do need that for this. You understand that, right?
As you're having this moment of conflict, the Eternity turns her attention back towards all of you that are currently in this teleconference. As Johannesburg's team finishes their report, she says, "All right, that's all we need for today. Thank you all for your updates. Keep on your patrols and keep us updated on what to expect from the field. Until our next meeting, we'll schedule." And there's kind of a near, like, to the screen. The whole thing kind of shifts for a second. Hold on, I'm getting some interference here. I'm not sure our systems are, and it flickers again. She pauses. You see the mute icon go on her screen, and she looks around to somebody behind her, and begins to sort of anxiously speak with them. And as she's in the middle of turning back and saying something to the group, the whole screen goes to static. Just kind of.
Sentinel looks to Machina. Really? Again? You ruined mine and then you ruined theirs? Come on.
This
man.
one was not me. Would I be able to use my understanding machines to work out what the hell is going on with this?
You can, however, before you really have a chance to focus at this point, an image appears on the screen. I'll say go ahead and you can go ahead and make another intelligence check or another intellect task as you're trying to understand this. This one's like a 3.
Okay, I've actually got understanding machines as a skill. Would that count for this?
Yeah, that'll count for this.
18.
Yeah, that's definitely a success on that. The systems are being hacked, and you very clearly can see that it's being, some sort of external signal has hacked into W.O.N.D.R's system, is now displaying some sort of message.
Is there a way on these things to start recording what's coming through?
Yeah, I'll say that. I'll say you probably have the capacity to record things using your.
Yeah, I'm just record it using my face.
Just kind of like, ding, and you begin to audio visually record your what you're perceiving, and a logo fills the screen, and you see what looks to be on the side of. They're still static, but like on the side of the screen, what's coming across the glass, you see like ice forming. It's not external, like not the screen isn't freezing up, but it's this sort of visual effect for added spookiness. And the screen goes dark, the frost remains, and in fact, at that time, you see a word spelled out across the screen, F.R.O.S.T. Which you all recognize at that point, since all of you take such diligent notes, as the sort of anti-hero organization, the First Revolutionary Order of Scientific Transcendence, F.R.O.S.T. Their logo spelled out in jagged icicles and clumps of ice across the screen. And you hear a voice speaking out to all of you in that moment. Apologies for the interruption, Eternity. However, it is imperative that I speak to all of you. Want to know with certainty that you will be paying attention. Today, winter arrives early, and the time of your judgment is at hand. Your cities will crumble and fall in due time. This is but the first test of our power. The screen flashes as soon as he says those last words, and the static starts up a second and then dissipates, and you see Eternity sitting there again. 4 or 5 people kind of clustered in behind her, looking at this monitor, hitting handheld comm devices, and she shoos them all away as the monitor comes back on. Can you hear me? Are we back online? Somehow they hacked our systems. All units, be prepared. We're getting reports. Attacks in Toronto, Dakar, Paris, Sydney. Did you say insect swarms? Those droids aren't supposed to be hackable. I don't understand. Okay, we're going offline now. Keep on the lookout. Stay posted. Report as soon as you know anything. W.O.N.D.R out. And as she does, the screen goes dark.
You're muted.
Well, that can't be good.
I am going to send the video file I got to Sarah Bellix's PDA handheld whatever thingamajiggle, and then work on sending it to W.O.N.D.R as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty easy. That's just a few kind
Let's
of
see.
thoughts.
Emails, attached file.
Yeah, and it's just as soon as you make that connection, just zoom, and Sarah Bellix, the email comes up on her comm device.
On my Google Glass.
Yeah.
I will also at this point get my tools and Sentinel's little thing and start repairing that, because we may need it.
Okay, you can do a repair task. We're going to say the difficulty is going to be equal to what you failed, so it's going to be a 4 again.
Yeah. 16.
All right, that succeeds because it would have been a 3. Yeah, you're good. So you're repairing that right now. Machna, it's going to take you just a couple of seconds. You were saying something.
Did she say something about drones being hacked?
She did say something about that one before they went offline. You heard her talking. He said there was some chattering going on behind her. She mentioned insect swarms. She mentioned you heard some mentions of like riots in the background. And then
would I know just by like hearing it in my use of military kind of stuff, would I kind of have an idea of what she would be talking about? Or was she talking about actual insect swarms?
Oh, you mean with like the drones? Or if she was referring to no, you got those were 2 separate things.
Okay.
Those were different. She was talking about a bunch like different attacks that were going on simultaneously.
Gotcha.
And actually, as you guys are kind of gathered here, trying to gather your thoughts and going over what had just happened, you can hear far out in the streets the signs of mass panic. Which is impressive considering how fortified your building is and how soundproof it is.
I am going up to the roof. Ping me when you're done. I go up.
Okay. So you begin to go up the. Let's say you take the mock elevator up to the top of the building. We get the elevator music. The do 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 as you're heading up to the 150th story of this building.
I like to think the music speeds up the faster the elevator is going.
Yeah. As you make it to the building, or the top of the building, Sarah Bellix, and you walk out to the roof, you immediately hear just like screaming. You can hear the sounds of panic and hysteria out far around you, and you walk over to the edge near the guardrails and look down, and you see people running through the streets. In like one general direction. They're heading into buildings. You see cars that are abandoned as people rush in the opposite direction. And you can see far off in the distance some smoke emanating up. You can hear more screaming and panic that way. And you watch as you sort of see the last stragglers going through, and then you see something very quick dart out from behind a alleyway and then launch itself at a person and begin to just like tear into them, and lets out, and then like three more come swarming in like a pack, and as soon as the person stops moving, they all scatter.
I see any more?
Yeah, I mean, as you see that happen, you look around, you see the same thing happening in a couple of different places, and you see these very fast moving, like human sized creatures that are attacking people in the streets.
I'm gonna put on my goggles and see, I don't know how fast they're moving, and see if I can catch a better look.
Okay. Make a perception check. We'll say that it's gonna be fairly difficult. We'll say this gonna be like a 5.
What do I roll for that?
It's gonna be perception, which is intelligence based. I don't know if you have any perception skills.
Discerning dispositions, getting hunches about people around me. Do I get any hunches?
No, it's gonna be straight up saying, but your goggles
Okay.
give you an advantage on it, so it's gonna reduce the difficulty by at least 1, down to a 4, and then if I think you on intelligence based tasks have edge, so that'll
yes.
probably reduce it more. Okay, so it's gonna be a 3 for you.
I rolled a 13.
Okay, so you look down and you get a good glimpse as you tune in with your goggles to one of these creatures as they're running past. And what you see is this amalgamation of, and I know anytime you describe a creature by saying the word amalgamation, it's not going to be pretty, and it's not pretty. It's like a hunk of grayish green flesh or matter of some sort, looks organic, with pieces of what should be bone like protruding off into weird angles and spikes. It looks like if you took a person and sort of scrunched them together like Play-Doh and then tried to build another person out of them.
Like
is
Gumby.
sort of, but it's yeah, and it's like greenish and gray, like almost like a silvery green color.
Gumby, but more horrifying.
Yeah, Gumby, but more horrifying, with like jagged angles and edges and weird holes like pushing through.
Okay, as this is happening, right, I guess I'll go over my communication device and try to describe what's happening to the other two.
Okay. As you fix the comm device, Machina, you catch just as Cerebellix begins to describe these creatures.
Any clue on total numbers?
You've seen about a dozen at this point, but there are clearly more in the city.
I have no idea.
Well, we know that Frost is probably to deal with it. I'm coming up to meet you just to see if I can get an eye on some few things. And he goes to the elevator as well.
Okay, so everybody's going to the roof.
I'll prepare the Goliath body and head out into the streets.
Okay, so
mushing.
Okay, so we get the cut scene of Machina walking into the hallway where the pieces of the suit begin to like form, like pull the chunks off of you, and then form the larger pieces on top as you like mid-stride are rebuilt into this massive Goliath structure, and then go and the solid steel doors at the beginning of at the front of the complex open up, and you head just barreling out to the street. Sentinel, you reach the roof where Cerebellix is currently using her goggles and kind of surveying the area.
Machina's getting his game face on, so he's down there already. Let's see what in the world you're talking about.
Right.
How far up are we?
Right now you're probably around like 800 feet up.
Okay. And it's just these creatures that are starting to attack people? Like there's nothing else happening in the vicinity?
You can make a perception check.
Cool.
And as you're looking around for anything else, Machina, you go out into the street, moving between some cars parked out front, and you see people rushing by, and they see you, and they seem relieved as they see you, and then keep running the other direction. And some of them sort of pointing behind them, and they say, there, and then they keep running the other way.
I'm like, keep marching forward.
Okay, you turn and going against the stream of people coming the other direction, go head down the road, and the two of you up there can see Machina currently pushing his way through the crowds. What'd you get on your perception?
I got a 5, but I'm trained.
So
it takes the step from...
Yeah, this would have still been around like the 4 or 5 difficulty, so that's still not going to be enough to get it. But you can retry the check by spending a level of effort if you want. But we'll do this first. As Machina, you push through the streets, and suddenly there's no people anymore, and they're all behind you. And you see ahead of you just this kind of abandoned intersection, a couple of cars parked sort of askew. And there's a moment, sort of quiet. All you hear is kind of the ticking of the lights as the intersection lights change. And then you hear this. And you see some sort of creature dart out from behind an alleyway, and you see the same thing that Cerebellix did, this weird sort of hell Gumby creature.
Screenshot send.
Screenshot send back over, and the two of you see on your comm panels on the lineup, you see a good vision of these this creature. And as soon as it locks eyes with you and sees you moving, it launches itself in your direction, just kind of, and just at a pretty quick speed, not like superhuman fast, just comes rushing at you with reckless abandon. What would you like to do?
Well, it's being so nice and coming towards me. I'm gonna punch it in midair as it leaps at me.
Okay, go ahead, and it's going to be a difficulty 3 check for the attack. It's not a very difficult thing to hit.
I've got too many things in the way. I only rolled a 5. Oh no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. I rolled a 16.
Okay, that's more than enough. And as it launches in the air towards you, kind of punch forward with all of your might and the gears in your body, and as you connect with the creature, it kind of squishes and condenses forward, and then scatters out into just like gore and ichor across the street, just murdered in one punch.
Cue One Punch Man theme song.
Yeah. And the two of you up there see this happen, see him just decimate or pulverize this creature with a single punch. However, you see as soon as that happens, there are like a couple more that are beginning to come, like rush down the streets in opposite directions. Sentinel, you can make a follow-up perception check.
Like Alex, I have way too much stuff in the way. All right, here we go. Yeah, I'm rolling crap tonight. What is going on?
Okay, so you don't recognize with a 4 that you don't recognize what or where anything else out in the vicinity from you, because you are very distracted by the image that you just got on your comm from Machina, because you recognize these creatures. You know what they are because of your time in the military. You fought alongside clone soldiers. Pretty common practice. This is what happens when the cloning process goes bad. They're what are considered VAT. They're called VAT rejects. They are weird pseudo-human creatures that are created when the cloning process is disrupted by either unusual like sun activity, sunspots, or a number of other things, yeast contamination, things like that, causes these clones to go haywire. So you know what these are, and you probably have a good idea where they might be coming from, given as there is a military base just outside the city.
Oh, that's not good. That is really, really, really not good. All right, I know what they are, and we got to move, because I'm pretty sure I know where they're coming from.
You want to share with the class?
Oh, yeah, they're clones. They're clone soldiers, but ones that have been completely just ruined. Military base is just right outside of town. That's probably where they're coming from. I used to fight with them all the time. This is what happens when things go horribly wrong. If it's gone this wrong, we got to get over there now.
Let's go. And I go over the comms again. Machina? Can you catch one?
I'll do my best, I say, looking straight at the next nearest one.
Yeah, as two of them are sort of flanking you, coming from either side. Machina, what are you doing?
Let's see. Don't want to leave myself too open to attack, so if possible, I want to get the heavy blaster out, just shoot at one of them, then as the other one gets near me, just try and make a grab for it.
Okay, go to make an attack with your heavy blaster.
Ah, 7.
Okay, and I'll let you make a. Well, here's what we'll do. So you take out your blaster and you fire at one, and it dodges out of the way of the blast. It's more difficult to aim with this large body in these hands, throws off the balance. It hits a nearby car, and the windows shatter off the side of it as you leave this big kind of laser carving in the vehicle. Luckily, most people have hero insurance in this town.
I wonder why.
You wonder
Why?
Uh-huh. I'm going to give you an XP for that. I'm giving all of you an XP for that. Why not? So it was a team effort. So anyway, as you fire, that one dodges out of the way. The other one lunges at you. So I'm going to have you make a speed defense roll against this one that's attacking you, or that's lunging at you.
Oh, I just realized I hadn't reset my pool from the end of last session either.
Oh yeah, make sure you guys do that. And if you succeed on this, I'm going to say that you're able to catch the creature.
Yep.
So if you want to apply any effort, now's the time.
Yeah, I am actually going to apply an effort. I rolled a 3.
Oh, man, it was difficulty 2 with the effort. So it lunges at you. You take 3 points of damage, reduced by your armor. I don't know how much
I
armor.
take 0 points
Take
of damage.
0
I've got
points of
armor
damage.
4.
Nice. So you take 0 damage to the thing, kind of like, and just bounces off your body, and then lands there and kind of looking up at you. The other one, as it pulls itself back up onto the car, you see it rear back, and you see the 2 kind of misshapen eyes that it has begin to glow for a second, and then it shoots out 2 like laser beams in your direction. I need you to make another speed defense action.
5.
This one you're not able to avoid, and you take 6 points of damage, reduced to 3 from your armor, as the laser hits you and carves a little bit of a chunk into your armor.
Ouch. Just got to remember where damage comes off on the sheet. Sorry.
Oh, it's you reduce your might pool.
That's it. That's how my might pool got so low.
Yeah,
I kept getting punched by bigger things than me.
Yeah, and then you can take actions to restore that later, but we'll get to that. So as the laser hits you, the 2 of you, Cerebellix and Sentinel, you're heading back down? Okay. The 2 of you begin rushing back down the elevator.
I'm just gonna fly. I can fly.
Oh, you're gonna fly? Oh, yeah, that's right. So Cerebellix, you leap off the top of the building and begin to just free fall down, as knowing you can catch yourself with your upper boots. Sentinel, do you have any cool ways to get down off the building, or are you taking the elevator?
Yeah, it's called the elevator, duh.
Sentinel just huffs, walks back over to the elevator, and begins to do as you go zoom.
Like talking to himself, like, I might have to get some hover boots now because this is ridiculous. Grappling hook. I need a grappling hook.
Yeah. So Cerebellix, you get down there pretty quick. As suddenly, Machina, you see this dot forming, and then Cerebellix just falling, getting to the point where she's just like about 30 feet above the ground, and suddenly, click, hover boots come on, and she catches herself in the middle of the air. So, Machina and Cerebellix, what are the 2 of you doing against these 2 creatures?
I want to use my my whip.
Yeah.
My whip of dazing things. It doesn't have a name. Yeah, I'm gonna take out the whip and swing it towards one of them.
Okay, yeah, the one that's currently shooting lasers and up on the car.
Oh yeah, probably laser guy.
Yeah, it kind of looks up at you and begins to like click, 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 rear back as its eyes begin to glow. You whip out of it with your psychic whip. Go to make your attack difficulty 3, which I think, if I remember right, is just going to be an automatic hit.
Okay, I rolled a 9.
You have a 2 modifier, so that was a 1 for you.
And I rolled a 9.
That succeeds. So you strike out of it. Your whip kind of passes almost like through the creature, and as it does, the stunning effect kicks in, and you see it sort of lock into place, frozen on top of that car. Machina, what would you like to do?
I am gonna go aim at the one that's still on the ground with my heavy blaster.
Okay.
Oh yes, 17.
17.
That is 7 damage to it in total.
Okay, and that's special. Yeah, so you get the +1. Yeah, so you just walk over, point your blaster at point blank range to this creature, and then fire. As you do, there is a spray of gore as its head is just blown off, and you see the residue of the laser melting away at the rest of its flesh, and the creature slumps to the ground in a thud. The other one is still stunned. For its turn, you guys can attempt to restrain it if you'd like.
Yeah, I guess. I might as well try. I mean, I am super strong and everything.
Okay. It's not strong enough to get... since it's stunned, As soon as you get over to it and grab onto it, there's no way it's getting out of your grip with its strength. So Machina just kind of locks the creature into its vice-like grip. As this happens, Griffin, you reach the bottom of the elevator, ting, and come walking out the front of the building.
So, what'd I miss?
I'm about to figure out what's going on with this thing. Can I?
Would I know if they can talk or anything?
You
Sorry,
would,
Savannah.
yeah, Savannah. What are you gonna do, Cerebellix? And then
Not talk to it. Can I use my scan ability that I have? Short range, it's like a 10-foot cube. I can scan a creature and reveal its level, a measure of how powerful, dangerous, or difficult it is, and whatever facts the GM feels are pertinent
Okay,
about it.
you can do that. You would know, Sentinel, that they can't talk. That these are mostly mindless creatures, but you know, Cerebellix, as I said before, because I just kind of like tell you guys what the levels are. It's level 3. It's got like 9 health. They're not too difficult to hit. They're mostly kind of just flesh monsters. But as you scan it, you see an image, and you see sort of a visual. Find yourself in first person, trapped in a glass tube, and you're suffocating. There are like bubbles rising up around you, and you feel yourself submerged under some sort of ichor. And then there's a light out in the darkened room beyond as you can press your head up to the glass and you see a door opening. And through that door walk 2 women. One of them with a glowing pendant around her neck and 2 swords crossed across her back. Another one looking down at her feet, hood pulled up, wearing a purple hoodie. The Asian woman quickly walks into the room and makes her way down a row of tubes. As you look to your right, and you see identical tubes, each one with another person inside of them, similar to yourself. White flesh, sort of amorphous human shape, not fully formed clones. And you see the Asian woman stop at yours, and she kind of presses her head towards the glass, and she says, "All right, this'll do." She turns back around, and you can hear her echoing through the glass. And it's hard to make out. She says, "All right, Kama, you're up." And the girl with the purple hoodie steps forward, and she keeps her head low, but she holds up a hand, and you see this glowing purple energy swirl around it, and then shoot forward in every direction. And at that moment, everything just goes dark, and it's pain, and it's confusion, and it's a single word in your head being whispered by a voice that isn't yours. Kill, 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 kill. And then your scan ends.
Do I recognize the woman at all?
The which one? The Asian one?
Yeah.
Did you read your dossiers?
Yes, that's what I was doing while we were muted.
Okay.
They're all like just in my head, so
Yeah, and you finally and Mark, you're like, okay, fine, I'll start circling through those. But Cerebellix, since you're the one that saw this vision, you do recognize, and a name comes to mind: Wrath. She's one of the most wanted agents of Frost currently in the world and other worlds.
And then the other one she called Karma.
Karma, which is a name that you're not familiar with.
Okay. I will, without going into a whole lot of detail, describe seeing Wrath and then whoever was with her that she called Karma, and just say that they did something to the clones.
Yeah, to get this kind of horribleness, you're gonna have to do something a lot, and that base probably has more than. Would I know if the base would have like more than 100? Is it like a bunch?
Well, they mass produce clones there. You would know they probably have the capacity to turn out like 200 every 6 months.
I mean, they probably have 200 or so just ready to go. So there's going to be a lot more than this.
They might still be there.
What, Wrath and this Karma chick?
Yeah.
Why don't we go? If we can take down Wrath, I'm like, that's good enough for me.
What kind of information is in Wrath's dossier?
There isn't a lot that they know. What they know is that she's a skilled assassin, one of the most accomplished martial artists in the world. She was the mastermind behind a few dozen criminal organizations before she disbanded them and joined F.R.O.S.T. But otherwise, not a lot to know. There's no record of her birth. There's no record of, and I mean, having no record of something when you have the resources of W.O.N.D. Is saying something. And there's no record of where she comes from or how old she is or anything beyond the criminal activities that she's been a part of.
Okay, well, what I do is I just turn so my back is towards Cerebellic so she doesn't get splattered in gore as I just squeeze.
Okay.
Thank you.
As the little poor bat reject is just squished.
Just make me feel bad for clone soldiers. Jeez.
All right.
How far is the base from here?
I'm assuming you're going to ask me how far the base is from here. It's probably about 10 miles outside of town.
Anyone got a ride?
Where's Accelerando when you need him?
Right?
I mean, you guys have your car.
Well, yeah, but that's boring.
But I'm like, someone could get there faster than that.
I'll
scope the place out.
Get the car.
I suppose I have to change body to be able to fit in the car.
No, this is like
I
the
get the van.
Wondermobile. This is like the thing this is the A-Team van that you guys have built specifically for fighting crime that I'm going to have you describe what it looks like. What do you guys imagine your Wonder car would look like?
A tank, probably, if it could hold Machina in his like full
I'm
form.
imagining like you have like a cab, a large armored container sort of on tank treads. So we've got where the driver can sit in the front. They've got the back can be used as like a mobile workstation if necessary.
It's just kind of like an APC.
Okay, yeah, like so big tank with a big like chamber in the back, where you can keep like incarcerated villains and
also Machina.
And also Machina.
Okay, so actually, you as you guys are standing here, you realize how far out you're going to be.
I asked Cerebellix to prepare it so my smaller body is in there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's acceptable. Yeah. So
it's
you
very organized. I'm very organized.
you take out your comm device,
You are a
Cerebellix.
doctor.
You take out your comm device, Cerebellix. You hit a couple buttons on it, and you all watch as next to the entrance, a section of the sidewalk lifts up, and there's kind of a as this large tank monstrosity kind of wheels itself out, painted like cobalt blue with the yellow W.O.N.D.R logo kind of splattered across the side of it. Very just like ostentatious. You guys had no set hand in its paint job, but
There's
What?
usually fuzzy dice hanging from the mirror, but it's getting close to Halloween, so now they're pumpkins.
Okay, fuzzy pumpkins hanging from the mirror, and as it kind of pulls itself up, the AI system controlling it, and then wheels around to the side, pivoting on its axis, and the doors open up for you to enter. One in the back as well for Machina. You
Climb in the back so I can also change bodies because I need to repair this one a bit.
Okay, you load up in the back, the core matrix of your form, dislodging and then kind of being lifted by some of the mechanical arms inside that assist locking down Machina, pushing into the smaller body that is currently also stationed like just behind it. Cerebellix and Sentinel, the two of you, get inside the vehicle too, locks down, and then you punch in the coordinates, and the whole thing kind of begins to head off down the roads or the alleyways of Tokyo towards your destination.
Sick.
Yeah, super sick.
And because Griffin in his day job is a mechanic, is just like they actually took my advice of how to set this thing up. I'm actually very kind of proud of them.
Yeah. You've been working on helping them work on this thing for a while, and it's
the paint job, but the mechanics is fantastic.
Yeah. So Machina, you can roll a recovery roll to regain some dice.
We ruled actually that I wouldn't be allowed to make recovery rolls because of the nature of my body.
That's right. So you're just making a repair check, right? And you're gonna yeah. So well, it's essentially the same thing. You're making a repair check and then doing the repairs on that. So
power of machines. I roll an A. Is
okay.
How much the difficulty is -1 as well.
Okay, and you hadn't taken you'd only taken 3 points of damage.
I'd taken 2 points of damage.
2 points damage. Okay, we're gonna give that to you. You're able to get that back with the repair check. Not that bad.
He just weld some stuff on.
Can I have a quick question about the clones, actually.
Sure.
Because I'm trained in science and a couple of other things, and I am a doctor. In case anyone forgot.
Yeah.
As far as the cloning process and everything goes, so mostly what we were talking about earlier is, I guess, natural occurrences causing things to go wonky with clones. So if they were forced bad, if karma did something bad voodoo magic to them, is there a way to revert them, or once they're goo, they're just goo?
Do you have
those were all of the technical medical terms, by the way?
Yeah. Do you have a science or medical or something skill that might pertain to
science? So you're training in science.
Cool. We'll go with science.
I don't know. It just said science.
Yeah. Make a science check.
Science. Oh, that's a 1.
Wow.
That's a big ol' 1.
Yeah.
Not that kind of doctor.
No, I
Damn it, Jim.
Don't really have an intrusion to throw in here. You guys are just driving down the road.
We hit a bunny.
Sorry, I was thinking too hard.
You don't know. This whatever was done to them involves some amount of power, some amount of superhuman magic, telekinesis, telepathy. You're not really sure.
Something not science.
Something not really science. And it might be irreversible, but it might not. It's hard to know.
Okay.
So that's me being super nice and not just being like, you blow up. So
Your brain melts.
yeah. So
All of a sudden, aneurysm.
All right. No, that's not the music going on. This is the one. Okay. So as the vehicle wheels around, suddenly the two of you, Cerebellix and Sentinel, look up and you see that you're barreling towards the front entrance of this industrial military facility. The gate's currently closed. We don't see any guards out front. And the gates don't seem to be opening. I assume you guys are just going to barrel through, but I don't want to make any assumptions.
I mean, most military complexes have countermeasures for that, so...
They're not up. It doesn't seem like the barricades have been entered. It just looks like there's no one here. And actually, as you approach, you can see a little bit of blood near the gates, and where some people, the guards, have probably already been murdered. But no alarms are going. And no countermeasures seem to have been engaged.
Oh, the alarms are probably going to go in about 10 seconds, because I look at Cerebellix.
We drive through the gates.
We drive through and yep.
Okay. You ramp up the vehicle and head up to your full speed. Just and the tank goes busting through the guard post. The wood and plaster and metal go like spraying across the parking lot. And as you bust through it, kind of ramping off slightly off the debris, an alarm does start to go off, and they're kind of just, and as this happens, and you wheel through the parking lot, the alarms go off, and suddenly two turrets descend from from the buildings, kind of overhang on the far side, and both of them kind of lock onto the tank and begin to gear up for an attack. What do the two of you do?
Gun it.
Okay.
Do I have any kind of feed as to what's going on here?
Yeah. There's we'll say that, I mean, there's like a camera mounted on the front of this thing, so you're getting the sensory input of the front camera of this vehicle. Actually, probably a couple cameras on it, so you probably have a 360 view of this.
What I am going to do then is get back in the Goliath body to prepare to jump out, but with a small addendum, if I may. Like in the back of this armored vehicle, there is like this large backpack structure for the Goliath body, which can basically house the other body for easy transfer if need be.
You spend 1 XP, I'll let you have that.
Deal.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you take the mini Goliath body or the mini Machina body, and you hit or you pull a latch on it, and the whole thing kind of like reforms itself into this armed backpack-like shape. And you take that in one hand with your Goliath body, just kind of lock it onto the back, and pull the latch on the back of the trailer here and prepare to leap out of it. Either one of you, so Cerebellix, you're taking control of the vehicle and going to gun it.
Is there like a garage or like a hangar or something that's indoors that a tank would fit in?
You can see a doorway, or like a garage door essentially, that is currently closed towards the left side of this complex as you're approaching past the guns.
I'm gonna go that way.
Okay.
Is there like a turret or a gun nest on this thing that I could like use for covering fire on these turrets?
Of course. Why wouldn't there be?
Perfect. That's
I'll say. I mean, there's specifically there. Okay, there's not a turret on it, but there's a hatch on the top that you're able to pull yourself out of so that you can fire.
Done. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. I mean, otherwise, what's Sentinel going to do? So, So as Machina, you pull the latch, the back doors swing open. You leap out onto the pavement behind Sentinel. You pull yourself out to the up top through the turret hatch, and Cerebellix, you hit a button on the console. A steering column ejects from the front, and you kick the vehicle into high gear. So first off, Machina, you land on the ground, the pavement cracking underneath you. You look up as these two turrets begin to spin into motion, about to fire down at you. What do you do?
I want to leap in the air and land on top of one of the turrets. Not in it, actually on top of it. Just
Okay.
bump.
The way that they're hanging right now, they're coming like down.
Oh, they're coming down.
Yeah.
Okay, will I be able to like leap up, grab, pull?
Okay, yes, you can do that. So this is going to be a. Do you have a skill you think might apply to this?
I don't, but I have 3 power shifts in this body reserved just for strength.
Yeah, so this is going to be a might check or a strength check, and yeah, if you're just going hog wild trying to pull this thing, so straight might check.
I roll a 10 that beats a difficulty 3, but as I have the 3 power shifts purely for anything that's basically strength based.
Okay, and yeah, I was putting this at around a 5 or a 6 anyway. So you go and leap up. You lock your hands around one of the turrets with a vice-like grip, and then pull it up down from the ceiling. And as you do, the whole like piece and the chunk of the pavement kind of rips out with it too. You're just holding the turret in place as as it begins to spark, as the wires that were powering it are also pulled loose, and the whole kind of comes dead as the other one is now still pivoting over towards you. Sentinel, you're next.
I mean, he's just gonna shoot it.
Okay, and as you get up to the top, you take aim at the turret, looking for a weak spot on it. Go ahead, and like I said, this is going to be. It's not as difficult to hit, so this is probably going to be like a 2 to hit, really, to be honest.
13.
Okay, 13. You, and that would be like a difficulty 8.
4. Yeah.
Okay. Beats difficulty 4, but you had 4 power shifts, so that beats like an 8.
Yeah.
Okay. So not only are you able to hit it, but you're able to kind of take a breath, you aim, and you, as sort of bullet time takes effect, and you see the spinning gears, you aim for one of the smaller gears that powers this turret, and you fire. And as this happens, the bullet goes streaking through, clips one of the pieces of metal, almost sounds like it misses to everybody else, but just enough to bend one of the pieces of metal, cause the gear to grind against it, and the whole bottom half of the turret just spins off and breaks itself apart. The turret still kind of stays there. It just kind of turns over towards Machina as sort of trying to shoot something, but the whole bottom half of it is just sort of exploded in a shower of metal. Cerebellix, you wheel around in the vehicle and gun the accelerator forward, the whole thing going streaking towards this garage door. Sentinel, you turn around just in time to see you about to go through this door, duck down into the machine, and Cerebellix, you drive straight through. There's not even really a check here. You guys are driving a tank, and this is what it's sort of for. And the metal just tears like aluminum foil as you bust into the main hangar of this complex. The car comes wheeling around, kind of skidding to the side, and comes to a stop.
I very calmly get out.
That's how you make an entrance.
I just walk in, and I just put the turret still in my hand, just in the back of the tank.
Okay.
You can give us a gift, Machina, because I'm pretty sure we can use that on something.
As you're
Can you imagine this body with a minigun on it? Come on.
We're gonna get to that.
We have to do that.
We have the technology.
You do. And you find yourselves in this central hangar, and you see probably half a dozen tanks similar to the one you have stationed throughout here, but it's just quiet inside. You hear that siren outside from the alarm, but in here it's just silent.
Are there any like other doors that we can see and go through?
Yeah, so you guys are in the garage floor level. There's some stairways leading up to kind of a higher raised portion, and you can see a few doors leading out from here further into the complex.
Well, he turns to Cerebellix. You got any idea of where we should go? You were the one that scanned it.
Can I look around and see if maybe any of the like structures look like they might be a medical facility or anything like that? Like something that looks like less like an office building or an armory and more like it might house like medical equipment or like a lab or something.
Yeah, are you using your scan for this?
It's a pretty small.
I'll let you use your
area.
scan for this.
Okay, it's like
Yeah.
yes.
Make a.
Then I do that.
I'm sort of going to give you more broad power with the scanning ability. So we'll go to make your. It'd be like a perception-based check using your scan. I assume that might lower the difficulty in some way or something like that.
I have my goggles too
Okay.
that let me
Um,
perceive better.
Yeah, this is more like you're extending your awareness out, like pinging like sonar throughout the
okay.
facility. So go ahead and make it'd be an intelligence check. You can apply any effort or anything you want, and the modifier for it will be whatever you've got for perception plus whatever you got for your scanning.
I don't know how to play this game.
Just roll a die.
Gosh.
Just roll a die.
I'm just gonna click a dice. I don't have anything extra for my scan, but
Okay, I'll say that gives you probably like a 2 modifier
and
to
then
it.
I don't know if it's factored in that I have edge for intelligence rolls.
No, I don't think that's automatically factored in.
I do have one edge.
Okay. So what? That'll put to like I said 2, 3, so that puts it like a 5. Okay, that's and you rolled a 7.
Yes, I rolled a 7.
Okay, that's enough. So you step forward in this complex and you send a pulse of psychic energy out, and you don't know where like the medical facility might be because you're not picking up any life forms in the facility, except for 2. And you sense that there are 2 life forms in that general direction.
Only 2 in the whole place.
Only 2.
2 of them. And I point in the general direction. Can I tell how far off they are, or just?
Probably like 600 feet or so. Or, well, more than that. Probably 600 yards. It's a pretty big facility.
I'll start heading that way.
Okay. Are we maintaining the loud approach?
I mean, do we ever not use the loud approach? He turns to Cerebellix. In this whole complex, there's only 2 people, other than us.
Alive, anyway.
Well, that's not a good sign. You want me to go first?
Let's just go.
All right.
Okay. So the who's leading the way on this?
And as we're walking, I'm telling them everything that I know basically about like clone soldiers, just kind of as a heads up.
I am already basically a walking tank, so I guess I am going first.
Okay, so you're leading the way in the smashy sort of way. All right. And yeah, as
what
you're
law?
He is literally a portable ram.
Yeah. So Machina sort of bypassing all the security measures of this facility as you begin heading down the hallways, the maze of hallways further in the direction that you need to go. There are a couple things you notice as you go through. You do find the people that were in this facility, and all of them seem to be dead. Some of them have their throats cut. Some of them have what looks like... All of them, I'll give you guys this, all of them look like they were killed but with swords. Like a small sword-wielding army came through here. And there's scientists and military officers and other researchers that are currently all dead, like they were murdered like mid-work. Some slouched over their desks, their paperwork strewn with gore. Some of them just slumped up against the walls in the middle of the hallways. Something came through here and basically executed everyone in this facility. As you push through, just pulling the rest of the doors out of the way, you tell them, Sentinel, as much as you know about the VAT rejects. Cerebellix, you know that you probably would have been able to pick up the VAT rejects if they had been here. You gather that they've all been expelled from this facility. As you wheel around a corner and Cerebellix, you feel that you're getting much closer. You pull the door open and go marching into a room that you recognize, Cerebellix. It's the test chamber room, the one with the tubes, and you see the tube that you were looking out of before, and it's this weird juxtaposition of you now walking through this door. However, the glass is smashed, and the goo that was inside the tubes is now splattered across the floor. And standing there on the other side of the room, in front of one of the vats, is a woman with 2 swords on her back. And she's turned away from you. And as you come marching through the door, she doesn't flinch, but she just slowly turn around. She sighs. Sing, pulls the blades out from her sheaths. You're the heroes, huh?
I mean, not really. And he pulls up his shotgun ready to fire.
Do you fire?
Yeah. If she is like the most wanted person, yeah.
Okay. You pull up the gun, aim, fire in her direction. As you fire, it hits, and her body's like dissipates into smoke. Almost like an illusion. And suddenly you feel somebody standing behind you. Too slow. And she attacks. I need you to, Garrett, make a I was going to say a dexterity saving throw. Wrong system. I need you to make a
speed
defense roll.
I'm guessing it's just the speed.
Yeah, if you don't have training in it or anything, yeah, it's just
not that I'm aware of. All right, so let's just 6.
Not enough. You take 8 points of damage as a sword slashes across your back. And since you guys are in pretty close proximity, the other one strikes out towards Cerebellix. I need you to also make a speed defense roll.
17.
Let's see. Not enough.
Plus 1? Even with the plus 1?
That's
just for damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But not enough still. You also take 8 points of damage. as two swords, like bolts of lightning, streak across both of you. She dodges and kind of weaves out underneath Goliath or Machina, and skids across the room, going into a defensive position in front of you all once again. So I need everyone to make a initiative check.
I rolled a 20.
I rolled a 23.
A natural 20.
I rolled a natural 20 as well.
Wow, guys.
I rolled a 4.
So the difficulty was a 6, that's 18. So the two of you actually succeed, so you get to go first.
Cerebellix.
So she's in front of us again?
She is in front of you again, this time seemingly for real.
Okay. I'm gonna use my onslaught ability. And I'm going to try to mind slice her.
Okay.
Well, I rolled a 2, but for me the difficulty is -5.
Okay. It was a difficulty 6, so I put that at difficulty 1. So 2 just
So
fails
I miss
the.
still.
Yeah. You literally had to roll anything higher than a 2. As you see her before you, you rush off to the side of Machina and send a pulse of mind energy kind of slicing with your fingers towards her. She sees you very easily, as you're not the fastest person in the world, and as you send that pulse of energy towards her, she actually is able to deflect the energy itself with her blade, just expertly with this just flick of her wrist. She causes it to reflect off and towards one of the vats, where it kind of dissipates against the glass. Sentinel.
You're muted.
You do the me.
So he's going to try to shoot her again.
Okay.
Because, I mean, that's what he does. And then he's also going to spend 1 speed point and inflict 1 additional point of damage with my weapon if I hit.
Okay. So doing the pierce.
Yeah. 19.
Yeah. That will hit.
With a special minor effect or +3 damage.
Yeah, so you can do a minor effect, or you can do +3 damage if you had a minor effect ready.
I don't think I have a minor effect, do I?
Okay, there are like a list of them, but if you didn't have one ready off the top of your head, we'll just do the +3 damage.
Can I shoot one of the swords out of her hand?
Okay, disarm is a minor effect.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we'll go with disarm is a minor effect.
Right.
So you take shot with your Benelli, and you fire in her direction. The blast hits her hand, almost, you imagine, like crippling her hand, and sends the blade scattering off into the goo to her left. She lets out kind of a snarl in your direction as it happens, and seems very perturbed by that. So that's like 11 points of damage total. Nice. All right.
12 because +1 for Pierce.
12 points of damage total. Okay. So on her turn, she looks down at her bleeding hand and sort of clenches a bit, and seems like it's still working for her. She is going to... So she's disarmed. It's either retrieve the sword or attack you guys again. She wants to attack again. So she is going to instead sort of dart forward, taking the blade, and she's going to strike towards Goliath Machina, who she sees kind of gearing up for an attack, trying to disable you. Go ahead and make a speed defense roll.
Because we know I'm great at those. 16.
Okay, 16 is not enough. You take 8 points of damage.
We're reduced by 4 because of my armor.
Yes. And then she is going to... Nope, she's just there. So she stabs into you, and that's where she ends her turn. So, Goliath, your turn.
Okay. I am going to spend a might point to do a light punch attack, but with my control the field ability.
Okay.
This melee attack inflicts 1 less point of damage than normal, but regardless of whether you hit the target, you maneuver into a position you die within immediate range.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and make your attack.
Rolled an 8, but so it's difficulty 2, but the difficulty itself is reduced by 3.
Okay, so that would have reduced it to... It was a 6, reduced it to a 3, so still not enough to hit her. I'm going to use a GM intrusion here, though. So as you go to punch to maneuver her, she's going to attempt to use that punch to help maneuver herself where she wants to be. So do you accept the GM intrusion and the XP, or are you going to reject it and spend an XP?
I'm going to spend an XP and reject it.
Okay. All right.
I want to maneuver her so she is right in the middle of the 3 of us.
Okay. So you miss with the attack, but you use that moment as she is gripping onto her sword, not wanting to lose this one, and spin in place, and she kind of dragged across the ground and is now square in the middle of the 3 of you. All right, which brings Sentinel and Cerebellic. It's your turns.
I'm not doing so good over here.
And don't forget, you can use an action to do a recovery roll if you need to.
Nope. Mind slice.
Okay.
Okay, I rolled a 7. The difficulty
Okay.
for me is -5.
Okay,
So,
which reduces it to a 1.
and
Which
I
is
beat it
7
too.
Yes, 7 is enough to beat it.
Okay,
So that
okay. So I do 11 points of damage, and with Mind Slice, it's like psychic damage, and it ignores armor.
Okay, yeah.
It's 11
So,
straight points of damage.
so she's gripping onto your sword. You kind of pull another psychic pulse and streak towards her direction, or kind of fling it towards her direction. As it does, it connects with the back of her skull, and she kind of bends forward a bit, reeling over from the pain. And let's okay. Damn it! Clearly feeling that attack a lot. Okay. That will put it to Sentinel. What are you going to do?
Well, she's in the middle of everything. And because I'm so close to her, I have the ability or whatever, find the flaw. If the opponent has a straightforward weakness, takes extra damage from fire, can't see out of the left eye, etc., etc., the GM might tell you what it is. Because I'm so close, can I see any of her straightforward weaknesses?
Does it cost you anything to use it, or is it just sort of a...
It's just a thing that I have. I just usually assume that I have to be basically close enough to see it. because I think that would be really broken if it's like any distance.
Yeah, no. So it's interesting. Like, she doesn't have as far as you can see, like, her stance is flawless. Like, she knows what she's doing. She doesn't have any like straight up weaknesses. There's no like big red button that, you know, if you stab her like here, that's going to kill her. But you can tell that she's very arrogant. That she has this confidence about her that no matter what happens here, she's going to make it out.
So I'm going to shoot her again.
Okay. Don't know if that helps us much in combat, but that is a weakness that she does.
It's good to know, though.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's a 1.
Okay. So now I get a free GM intrusion. As you
spend that XP, dude.
As
I
you
do
go,
have an XP.
No, this one you can't spend to.
Oh no, one
to
they just happen.
They just
Yeah,
happen.
I know.
But he spent that XP for nothing. Just kidding. But you actually you pull up your gun, like point blank range to fire. She looks towards you, and in a blur of moment, you see her rip the sword out, grab onto Goliath Machna's arm, and use his arm to sort of absorb the impact. Goliath takes 8 points of damage, reduced by whatever amount your armor is, and she. No, I'm going to say that's as far as I'm going with that GM intrusion. But she is able to absorb the impact using one of Goliath Machna's arms that she's able to sort of maneuver into place, and you see his arm sort of like sparking and reeling from the damage that you just did to it. That will put it to her turn, and she has now pulled the sword out. She is going to slide under the arm that you just shot at and make another attack towards you, Sentinel. So I need you to make a speed defense roll.
Here we go. 14?
Not enough. She inflicts 8 points of damage on you.
So, here's the thing. If that's might damage, right?
Carries over to speed.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah, so, but you are now impaired, which does something. Effort costs 1 extra point, and rolls of 17 plus, you don't get any minor or major effects anymore. So,
cool.
All right. That will. She still only has 1 sword, so she can't make another attack. So that ends her turn. Goliath.
Okay, screw trying to be nice. I'm going to take the risk and just full force punch in the face.
Okay.
Come on, roll well. Damn it. So I only rolled 9, and I can only reduce difficulty by 1.
Okay. Yeah, you go to punch, but your heavy punch is it's extremely low to her. Like she essentially just stands there, and as it gets just inches away, just kind of drifts to the side. Actually, not even looking at it because you're behind her. She just drifts to the side, and the punch sort of goes over your head, almost hitting Sentinel, but you have enough control to keep it from hitting him. And she keeps that sword that is sort of currently impaling Sentinel kind of in the side. Back to Sentinel and Cerebellix.
Okay. I have a thought. I was heading towards 2 pings. There's only 1 person in this room. I have PhD. I can figure this out. I would like to use my turn to scan the room for karma.
Okay. There's not really even there's not really a check with that. You're just spending the point to use it. Okay, so you scan the room, and you can sense somebody else in this room. there is another life form that is currently kind of hiding behind some of the vats across the room. You gonna do anything else?
Can I do anything else?
Sure. Can't like attack or anything, but if you want to like move or call out anything.
Click on the hover boots and head that way. Like
And
head
whoosh over there.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. There's no real like disengage or anything in this game, so you click on the hover boots and you see Cerebellix kind of zoom out of this melee that's going on, and as you zoom over there, you can see. You get an angle, and you can see the kind of back end of a large purple hoodie, as somebody is currently kind of hiding behind one of the vats.
Is Cerebellix still like mind melded to Sentinel, where they can talk to each other telepathically?
Yep.
It's good to know.
Sentinel, it is your turn.
I can use an action to do like a heal check thing, right?
Yeah, you can use an action to do a.
So do I just do the recovery roll, one action?
Yeah, I don't. It's 1d6 plus tier. So you guys are at tier 1, so it's 1d6 plus 1.
All right. So 5.
5. Okay, and you can split that amongst your pools, so you can get yourself back up into hail, or you can put them all into.
Okay, cool.
If you want to. All right. But that's your action. That will be back to her turn. Wrath is going to then rip the sword out from your torso and strike back towards Goliath as you finish your punch. Make a speed defense roll.
I take 4 more points of damage.
Yes, you do. As she pierces in again, finding another weak point in the heavily armored body and driving her sword through. Swords aren't like the most effective thing towards giant robots, but it's seeming to do the job of it. Goliath. Your turn.
I am spending 1 from my might pool to reduce the difficulty of this big heavy punch by another 1.
Okay. So that reduces it to a 5.
And I rolled an 8.
Reduced to 4. Yeah, not enough. And you go, and as you slam to the ground, you're pretty sure you got her, that you smushed her. You pull the punch up, and you see she's not there. And instead you hear kind of a behind you as she has like wheeled around behind, currently about to strike again with her sword.
Look at it this way. With me constantly trying to fatten her, she won't be focusing on you.
Yeah. Sentinel and Cerebellix.
I'm just gonna keep shooting her until she's dead. So,
Okay.
like, if you want me to go first, that's fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
While you think about, okay. No. Well, no, probably not. Because I rolled a 2, but it reduces it by 2. But I'm still pretty sure that's not a.
No, it's still difficulty 6, so it's still misses, and she is able to weave out of the way of that shot again, seeming to better understand your attacks and your patterns at this point, and is just sort of playing with you all until she's able to whittle you down to come in for the kill. Cerebellix, what are you doing?
Okay, I am trained in skills such as sensing emotions and discerning dispositions. So I want to try to essentially social interactions, getting hunches about people around you, things like
And
that.
we sort of
Can I try to discern the nature of? Well, I guess probably not, since you're just hiding behind like a vat. I was gonna say like the nature of their relationship.
Yeah, well, we talked about this before. This is like a psychic thing. Like, you're reading her mind. So
Cool.
whether or not, as long as you can see her, yeah, you can make that check. So yeah, go ahead and make your empathy or sense emotion or whatever the check might be you feel.
Okay, I do have edge. Which
Okay.
just reduces the difficulty by 1, and then I'm trained in it, which is another 1. And I rolled a 2.
Okay. She's not difficult to read. You're not able to get like the full extent of what's going on here, but you are getting this overwhelming sense of like conflict.
From Karma.
Yeah.
Okay, can I do anything else?
Okay.
I want to land. Can I apply for like hover around behind her
Okay.
and land? Let's see if she sees me there. I don't want to
Okay.
like sneak up on her.
Okay, so we sort of get the scene of Machina and Sentinel engaged in this fight with Wrath, who is just sort of toying with the two, evading shots and wheeling, kind of pulling Machina around using leverage and martial arts to steadily whittle the two of you down. They were getting like curses, and Sentinel is just getting frustrated and pulling out the big guns and just firing like a madman. And Cerebellix, you come hovering around to the other side of the vat, and you see this huddled up figure there. And as you hover down, she wheels around, the hood falling backwards, and you see this long blonde hair and this young face of probably like a 16-year-old girl. And she looks up at you and she panics and she holds up her hands, and you see a flash of purple energy like you saw before, kind of whelming around her hands as she's preparing to fire something against you. And she yells at you as you do this. She says, "Stay away from me. I'll kill you."
Can I also take my hood down?
Sure.
It's like a normal looking person. And I don't want to hurt her. I don't do anything. I just say, we are not your enemies.
She says, "I know who you are. You're the bad guys. We're gonna fix things."
You know, that's what they told us about you.
Make a so you said you have a social interaction check?
I do, yes.
Okay. You can make a check there.
Okay. Well, I have edge, so it's difficulty -2, and I rolled a 6. Because it's either under a 10 or a natural 20 with me.
So here's what happens. You tell her that, and you can see her sort of, and almost like a reaction, and she really hesitates while she does it. She sends a pulse of energy in your direction. I need you to make a speed defense roll. Actually, no. Intellect defense roll. Sorry. Okay.
Does my edge affect this?
It would. So it would be to 4.
Yeah.
She is at a 5. So that's gonna deal 5 points of damage, intellect damage to you.
Oh no.
As you feel this pain sort of rack you, and the pain that hits you as it washes over you, you're attuned to this, and what you're feeling, you know, it's not physical pain. It's not it's not like you're mind slice, you're just tearing into somebody's consciousness. This is like a reflection of the pain that somebody else once felt. It's familiar. I mean, it's that familiar sensation that you've sort of tapped into through your training and your practice. And you're seeing this girl, and as she attacks you with it, you can see she is crying throughout the process. That is going to end that encounter. Brings us back to Wrath, who is going to, after just avoiding one of Sentinel's attacks, she is taking her sword and she is stabbing down at like what would be the Achilles tendon of Machina's Goliath body. Make a speed defense roll again.
12.
Okay, 12. That will fail. And she does another 4 points of damage to you as she slices down at your leg and kind of leaps off to the side, doing almost like a semi-cartwheel, landing on the other side between, again, interposing yourself between Sentinel, using you as a shield. Goliath, or Machina Goliath, back to you.
This has to roll well at some point. Spending one from my pool, so it's a -2, not a -1 again. Fuck yes. 16 beats difficulty 5. Difficulty is reduced by 2.
And that just beats it. As you see her wheeling around in a cartwheel as she slashes you, but you're ready for it this time, and you begin the punch before she lands on that side. The calculations of the trigonometry wheeling your head and processing. And as she lands, she looks up with a grin just in time to take the heavy punch straight to the gut, which sends her flipping end over end, slamming into the ceiling, and then falling back down. And she lands on her feet. And you can see like this look of pain and panic as she lands, just kind of and she spits up some blood. She's still up, but she is, that one punch like almost downed her. And as she lands, she looks over towards Cerebellix, and who's kind of hovering on the other side of the platform, or the vat. She yells over, she says, "Finish this, girl!" And that's the end of Machina's turn. Brings us back to Cerebellix and Sentinel. Cerebellix, I'm going to have you go first, just because I want to see if how this plays out before Sentinel gets another.
Okay. I'm going to land. Not hovering anymore. I'm going to click it off. Land. Got my hood down.
Okay, you just taking the blast. You land on the ground,
Yeah, I just take
feeling your head spinning. You actually find yourself, as you land, you realize something is running down your face, and you realize that you're crying too.
Why did I pick empath? This is so sad. So I land, and I put my hands down, very like non-threatening, and I don't go towards her, but I try to like lock eyes with her, and I just say, "Karma, we didn't come here to hurt anyone. I don't know what they told you about us, but we're here to help. It's all we've ever been here to do." Listen.
She's still... Oh, good.
I know what you're feeling, and I know people have said that to you before, but trust me. You don't have to hurt anymore. And you don't have to hurt anyone else.
Okay. You're gonna have one more social interaction check. I'm going to give you an extra modifier on it, and you can spend any amount of effort that you want.
Yeah, I'll do an effort.
Okay.
Don't know how to do that.
That's fine. You
a
just
speed point.
no. It's your
So,
whatever skill you're
Oh,
using.
okay.
So.
So intelligence. Ooh,
Yeah.
not doing so good. Okay. So I'll roll, and you guys help me do math.
23. That's the answer.
Okay. So if I have edge, so it's -1. I'm trained, so it's -1. And if I do an effort, then it's also -1, 2,
So
1.
1.
Oh, you guys are all holding up different numbers of fingers.
So you reduced it by 3.
So I reduced it by 3.
Okay.
Okay.
And
I
you
rolled a
rolled
7, which is not great.
Okay. But it's enough to beat a difficulty 5, which is what this check was. So you get down on her level, and there's still that pulse, that barrier of energy between the two of you, and she's still holding up her hands, this purple energy swirling around her, and she's still crying as this is happening, but she has this determination on her face, and as you speak to her, there's this moment of connection, and she sort of backs up as if she's seeing something, as if you're projecting something towards her, and she begins to see images, and she sees the pain you've gone through and the struggles you've endured, and the energy diminishes. She doesn't attack you again. Sentinel.
So Wrath is on the ground, bleeding profusely. That one hit really did a number on her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cerebellix hasn't told me anything of, don't shoot her, nothing like that.
Nope.
So he is going to attack her again. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
And because I completely forgot when we started this fight, I have that cloaking device. I know we talked about it, like the first time where he goes invisible for a certain amount of time. Can I use that to get behind her and basically do like a sneak attack on her?
You've had an invisibility cloak this whole time.
I just realized it. But
yeah.
It only lasts. I think me and Sean only talked about it once, and he was like, "It only lasts for like a few seconds."
Yeah. I'll say you can do that, and I'll say that it's going to give you a modifier on your roll, so it's going to give you I'll say a +2 on your roll.
Okay, so that's what he's going to do. He's going to look at Machina, wink, disappear, run basically up behind her, and try to shoot her in the back.
What does
Okay.
it mean when people wink at me?
And he's also going to use the speed point for Pierce as well if he hits.
Okay.
God freaking son of a... What is it with me rolling today? So that's a 2.
Okay.
Reduced by 2 steps, plus like more, but with the +2 or whatever. But still, probably doesn't do anything.
Nope. Not enough to get her. You take you come around behind her, knowing you're cloaked. You go to take your shot. As you aim, she turns around and looks you dead in the eyes. And you take your shot, and she ducks out of the way. The bullet sort of glancing off of Machina's armor. As the energy fades, as the cloak fades around her, she grabs her sword and comes wheeling around towards you again with it. Make a defense roll.
You're so muted.
You're doing a me. I mean,
What is it? It's... So here's what happens. Saturday is Alex's days to mute himself. Tuesdays are mine.
Yeah. So go to make your speed defense roll.
If I get a 20 on this, I'm just going to flip my computer. I got a 12. It's not enough, but that's better.
It's not a 2.
It's not a 2. It's above 10.
You take 8 points of damage. And something strange happens at that point too. Let's see.
He dies.
No, not quite. As you take that damage, there's at least a large gash across your chest. You see the blood kind of begin to pull up through your clothing and the armor. As she carves through and she looks up at you with a grin as she's enjoying this fight, it seems. You watch as a similar streak appears across her as well. Suddenly her head whips around and she looks over towards the vat where you see Karma standing there holding a hand in your direction. You see that purple energy wheeling around her as somehow she transfers the same damage that you take back to Wrath as well. And Wrath falls to one knee, looks over to Karma and says, "You bitch," and then falls face down in the goo. At which point, Karma releases the energy that she's holding, and you see her sort of fall to her knees and double over and just begin to sob.
Can I kneel down next to her and just very carefully and gently, so as not to startle her, just kind of put a hand on her back or her shoulder and see what she does.
Okay. You put a hand on her shoulder and she flinches for a second. And you feel she stays there and her sobbing diminishes a bit. And as you're placing a hand on her shoulder and you can sort of see the comfort and the calm that you're instilling in her with that, you feel that same calm as well begin to wash over you. As she relaxes, you also begin to relax.
You hear the cop
Sentinel,
a shotgun, and he puts it to the back of Wrath's head and is this close to being well, at least we got her this time.
Telepathically, I say, stop. Very calmly, I say, stop. She's a child.
Telepathically.
Stop.
Well, no, it's Wrath, not...
No, I know. I'm saying
there's
a child in the room.
Oh. Telepathically. Fine. And he just puts it up, but he's watching her. If she moves, he's going to kill her.
Fair enough.
you can tell her head is face down in the water. The amount of blood's coming. She's dead.
Good to know.
Wrath is, yeah. I'm not saying that shooting her wouldn't also be a good op, but she's dead. You can see the amount of blood that's coming out, and you probably check too. No pulse. She's
okay.
Dead. This is
good to know.
I will eject from my Goliath body into my normal one. I will go to whatever the nearest terminal is and try to shut off that damn alarm outside.
Okay, you do pretty easily.
So loud.
Also gonna start contacting W.O.N.D.R.
Okay, and you set out the alarms and the alerts to get W.O.N.D.R to gather. As
Uh,
Go ahead.
walking through, do I see sort of karma as well?
Yeah, you do.
I put in the alert to wander, one fatality, one sort of one minor sort of whatever the term for this sort of special case would be.
Okay. Special case probably works pretty well.
Yeah.
Sentinel makes sure that, like, even though Cerebellix is like, these were the only two people here, he checks the perimeter to make sure that there is no one here.
Okay. So
Probably heals a little.
yeah, as you're sort of limping around.
Can I
Hey,
talk?
this body's at full health.
Oh. Oh yeah, I look like crap, by the way. I'm not doing good over here.
Oh yeah, I think.
Can I try to talk to her
Sure.
now that we're very calm? Is Karma your real name?
She looks up, she sniffles. She goes, the only one that ever really mattered. Katie.
Katie. I'm Charlie.
So what now? Am I going to jail?
No. You helped us. You saved us, really.
Thank you.
Come on. No one's gonna hurt you.
Okay. So in the cinematic sort of conclusion to all of this, you help Karma up. She pulls her hood back up over her head.
Yeah, me too.
And and walks very close with you out of the facility. You do a once round sentinel, and yeah, there's no one here. As you all make it back out to the vehicle, back out to the front gates, the W.O.N.D.R task force, the units begin to arrive, and the Ein military begins to disperse. You can see
Hide the
that
minigun.
you and the back hatch closes as it happens. You see a couple of things. The panic in the street seems to have stopped. And as you're all taken from the facility, you realize that all of the VAT reject soldiers have fallen, just inactive. Like whatever's controlling them is no longer controlling them. So there's sort of a street cleaning going on. They're beginning to pull those bodies into piles. The dead are taken out of the complex, and you see one of the W.O.N.D.R units taking a black body bag with as they zip it up. You see Wrath's face zipped up into it and loaded in the back of one of the trucks. You're all sort of congratulated, just for good measure. You're all congratulated and applauded for once again saving the city. And one of the officials comes over and takes Karma for a debriefing. Not far, and you can go with her, Cerebellix, if you want to. But she is taken back to like an official facility where they can find out what she knows. And she talks a little bit along the way, and you hear her talking about F.R.O.S.T, and you hear her talking about the mission that she was given by a person named Zeitgeist. And she's taken back to one of the facilities to be debriefed, to talk about that. And it's not really sure what they're going to do with her, but with your sort of persuasion, Cerebellix, and using your own sort of natural abilities, you get the feeling that you might be able to get her off pretty easily without with a slap on the wrist.
If Cerebelic's asked, I keep an eye on all the records I possibly can get to.
Okay. At which point you're all you see the vehicles dispersing, pulling out of the complex. Some of them remaining for the cleanup and to secure the military facility. And you all begin making your way back to help with the cleanup and the rebuilding in the aftermath. As we pan away from your group, as you see all the trucks leaving, you follow them one by one, and you see the last black truck pulling out of the complex. And we sort of follow that one as it drives out through the city. You see the driver in the front of the truck talking with one of the other guards sitting next to him with a gun in his lap. And they're talking, but you don't hear their voices. Instead, this sort of hum takes the air. And you see, panning through the back of the truck, you see some body bags and some belongings stacked up. And you see a red ruby, a talisman, stacked up against two swords. And just for the faintest moment, the ruby pulses. And you see the black body bag unzip itself from the inside as Wrath sits up, cracks her neck, looks over her shoulder, grabs one of the swords, and then wheels back towards the two drivers. As we pan out from the vehicle, you hear a scream, and the vehicle sort of slightly. And then it just turns off and begins driving out to the outskirts of town. And that's where we're going to end our session here today.
You're still muted.
That's why you always double tap people.
Somehow I don't think it would have made that much of a difference.
I mean, if you take her head from her body, it probably would have.
Who knows?
Next time.
And then that's what we
But
get
we don't
to
know.
We don't know.
Reaches, and you see the panel of the comic book. You see the to be continued along the bottom, and we'll pick this up in volume 3 of Wonder-World. Good game.
That was awesome,
everyone.
It is so satisfying when that punch connects.
I know. it's a gamble, but it's worth it. Cinematically couldn't work out any better.
I just love it because it probably takes off over half of any opponent's health like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, that did a number. But yeah, good game, everyone, and thank you to anyone that is watching or that watches it on the YouTubes later on. Thank you so much for bearing with us and our not understanding of the rules. But I think we did pretty well. Screw the rules. We had an awesome time. Couple things before we sign off. There is no Survivors Complex this weekend. Instead, we will be doing a one-shot DM'd by Alex, who's I think somewhere over there.
You're pointing like off of the screen.
That way?
He's like, right? Okay, now point down to like the bottom corner. Yeah.
There
Kyle's
he is,
pointing the wrong way.
Yeah.
Only I can see what's happening. Very professional. We'll edit this in post.
We'll edit. We'll get it right.
All of this gets edited out.
But yeah, Alex will be running a one-shot for a couple of us. Expect there will be turtles involved, perhaps. But we'll be running that a little bit earlier in the day, around 2:30 Eastern time, 11:30 Pacific. So check us out. We had some late night complications, and neither the streamer nor the DM would be there, and it would have made it very awkward to have to run like that. Just hamster wheels powering everything. So no normal session Survivors Complex this weekend, but next Monday we have our first game of TBD title space game, Dungeons and Dragons in Space, that will be run here by YouPickGaming's very own Ryan. So we're all looking forward to that. I think
Like Freeman Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm out of the loop apparently with this.
Very out of the loop. You're like,
We've been talking about it on Discord for like 3 weeks.
I mean, at the same time, you don't like invite me to Discord channels.
Everyone is in that Discord.
Just three out of the 4 of us will be in that game. I think Alex will be playing basically Machina, but base D&D version Machina.
Machina with psychic powers.
Yeah,
basically.
Nice.
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
Machina and Cerebellum.
Awesome fantasy space.
Yeah.
D&D. If you like Firefly, you'll love this game. You'll love this game. That's how I'm gonna pitch it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be at 8 o'clock Eastern time, so that's 5 o'clock Pacific. So check us out for our first session there in a system that we all know how to play for the most part. Otherwise, after that, we'll be back to our normal Survivors Complex, and I don't think we have anything else between now and then to announce.
Nope.
Otherwise, I don't really have any other announcements. We don't really. Thank you, Sarah, for making the overlay. Got all my music from Comptech. No maps, just flying by the seat of our pants. Thank you to comic book fans everywhere.
If you super thought this game was really interesting and you want to try playing it, we are playing the Cypher system for those of you, because I know there are some people in the chat right now that weren't here at the beginning of the stream. We are playing these, or trying to play sort of our interpretation of the Cypher system, but it's really fun. Yeah. Highly recommend it. Get the book. It's super cool. Lots of awesome things you can do. Anything from fantasy to sci-fi to everything in between. It's really fun. It's easy to learn and play with your friends.
And as you can see, it doesn't really require a lot of understanding. It's very simple and lots of awesome RP involved. So check it out.
None of us have read the book. We're just making it up.
Yeah, basically.
I think we read just enough of the book to make a character, and then we're like, all right, we're done.
Basically. All right. We'll go ahead and call it before our end of the game or our post game goes too long. But thank you, everyone. For coming out and watching, and until next time, stay wonderful.